Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Guess what?
Tell me.
I'm going to say the same thing over again.
Please.
So, anyway, how could it be any different if there is only the one?
Yes.
It'll only have to be that. Which all the so-called things are included in it. They're not separate. There's no separation whatsoever.
That's right.
Whether it's seemingly good or bad, pleasant or painful, happy or sad, those labels or words are not on it. What is it then?
Yeah.
Just as it is, unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected. It says in the Hing Sing Ling, no discriminating thoughts arise, everything is clear and undisguised. Make the smallest distinction, however, and heaven and earth are set infinitely apart.
Yep.
So, what are we talking about? No thing. And if you look at it, you'll see all this manifestation is just appearing as things. But no thing is that pure, what I call intelligence energy. Intelligence is another word for knowing. And the knowing, the ing in it gives us something that's happening right now. So it's the activity of knowing. Anyone not knowing not right now? Anyone not hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, smelling, thinking? So, it's all this functioning intelligence energy. You're not the body or the mind, but it has to be some appearing thing for any expression or activity to take place. So, if it's all the one, you must be that. And they tell you that also, don't they? It's told that in all different texts and scriptures, that I am that. And as it says in Isaiah, be still and know that I am is God. So that's just the God, the labels or words. And what or you or anybody else without the word. Well, if that intelligence energy is still vibrating through the pattern, you are just the pure life itself. If that's not there, you are gone back or returned to the pattern for the pattern, the body, mind has disappeared. Well, where can you go? Back into that pure intelligence, energy, the no thing, the basic screen on which everything is appearing, playing, expressing, never been separate, never been divided. But look into this manifestation, and the myriads and myriads of things are seemingly there. And if that space wasn't there, what could there be? So everything or no thing is the content of that basic screen, the no thing, the essence.
Yes.
What is there to do? Well, it's doing itself. Breathing's happening right now. Hearing's happening. Words are coming out of this mouth. What we call a mouth or a body. All happening, and seems to have a cause to it all, but it's a causeless cause. And there can't be an effect without a cause. So when it's investigated, you see there is nothing that can be separate at all. The belief is taken on that I am this body, I am this mind, I am this person. And where did the belief come? Well, it's a word that's been learned, picked up along the way, vibration of energy. And the definition of belief is an unquestioned acceptance. So these words are happening, haven't been questioned, of an unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason. That other expression, which we call the mind, is taken for granted that we are this person, we are this body, we are this word. Acceptance of an alleged fact. We've heard it or read it somewhere and taken it as gospel and stayed with it for years and years and years without questioning it. Like the person that I am the body, I am Bob, I am the Australian. I never questioned that. When did that thought I am come in? That didn't come in until I was a couple of years old. When parents fussing around me, speaking words, saying, little Bob, do this, do that, or that. And I had the capacity of reason to develop, and I learnt words. And I learnt I am, the sense of presence, the knowing, the being, the knowing and the loving to be translated as the thought I am. And I learnt that word, and I said, I put on, you little Bob, well, I am Bob. And then I'm a good fella or not so good, or this, all other words I've learnt, and I form a conceptual image about myself. which wasn't questioned, was taken for granted, and some of those questions and beliefs are still there. And when the parents told me that there was a change in the patterning expression, that you're frightened, that's fear. Or another one, that you're angry. And another one that you're unhappy. And whenever those sensations come, which are pure sensations, come up, and I've been told that this is this one, I recognise, well, I believe I'm fearful, or I'm angry, or I'm full of shit, if you like. Whatever you take to be so. Without questioning. And nowadays, when they're questioned, that sense of presence, the sense that I am, the beingness, or the I amness, the sense of presence, is still there. And the sensations that come up can still be labelled fear or anger or depression and all the rest of it. Not being seen fresh and new, which everything is always fresh and new. It's not time bound when you investigate that. Not seeing fresh and new, what's happening? Well, if I'm Bob and I'm fearful or angry, there's a sensation or feeling comes up. I'm relating to a past sensation, putting the same label on the past sensation. And you can't live in the past. We seem to live in the past, and we put ourselves behind everything. Because life is ever fresh. It's ever new. It's constantly changing. So, living from that point of fear or anger or depression or whatever it is, or whatever the sensation is, I'm not keeping up with life. And so naturally, if you're not keeping up with it, there's going to be more fear, depression, anger, unhappiness. To be with what is, fresh and new. Try it out and see. And you've had taste of it throughout your life, but we go back into the old labelling, the old conditioning, because it's become habitual, and everybody around us is reinforcing it, and we're reinforcing it ourselves. So it needs a bit of how would you describe it? As being with it, as it is, fresh and new. See, everything fresh and new, unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected. And as the manifestation is transient, it's constantly changing. So are you going to cling to the old labels? Especially when they're causing problems like fear, anger, depression, unhappiness, dissatisfaction. If we're living from that concept or idea all the time, our life's not going to be very happy. And it's not. But seeing it fresh and new, it can be a wonderment. What's next? How's this coming about? Seeing into it deeper than what the old concept had you believing it was like. Seeing it as ever changing, fresh and new, spontaneous, life, energy, love, compassion, sensations. Those sensations more likely which will come up if they're given a chance to be recognised instead of putting the old label on it. There can be more clarity, more compassion, more love, more affection. That's how it seemingly works here. See what it does there. And here and there are the same anyway. The seeming concept of distance or separateness is blocking us again. Not much to talk about, really. Needs to be, as they say, recognised. It's a cognising emptiness. And Buddha stated that emptiness is form. So all these forms, all this manifestation are empty. Emptiness is form, and the form can be nothing other than that emptiness.
Would you like me to read some comments?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just only got it now. Hi everyone, I got a couple of nice comments. We start from one from John David who says, "The selfless love of the sailor giving us the good news all over the years just touches my heart. Thank you, Bob, for bringing me back home again and again. Love ya."
Love you, John
Thank
David.
you, John. And Rohan says, reflecting on the current situation in Melbourne. And for those who didn't realize, we are here by ourselves, so we are in a lockdown. There is nobody else in the room. Reflecting on a current situation in Melbourne, a word like lockdown can be so loaded and carry so much baggage. The word lockdown is related to past experience of limited freedom and wait, that's just the phone. Past experience of limited freedom and causes suffering. At the root of the suffering is the idea I am the body. And because the body's freedom is limited, my freedom is limited. As Bob points out, the body never had any freedom in the first place. Beautiful.
Thank you, Rowan.
And Tanya says, unmodified, uncorrected. That means thoughts don't need to change. Left as they are, clouds passing through being. And now Amarnath says, "Dear loving Bob, all forms are formless. Can you explain more about this, please?"
Well, formless is no thing.
Yep.
And so what does it say? Emptiness is form. The no thing is still form. And the form is nothing but the emptiness. So there's not two. And it's no thing, no patterns, no shapes, no form. It's like space. The screen, the basic screen on which it all appears in. There's no thing. It hasn't got any circumference, hasn't got any centre, hasn't got any boundaries, got no centre. You can't go out and cut a lump of space out of the sky. But you can't say it is either. So it's like the thoughts and everything else. You can't say they actually are anything or no thing. Like look at it, as I point out about like the image in the mirror. the mirror is basically empty. Yet, because of the surface on the back of it has the capacity to reflect or create images. You can't say those images are there. Try and grab one out of the mirror. You can't. But you can't say they are not there.
Yeah.
So everything is like that. You can't say it is. You can't say it is not.
Mm.
But then it's suffused with, how can you say that? An energy, somewhat of a movement, a spander, a spontaneous, or soma, or whatever, the brittle, or all the other labels they put on it. Suffused with that which is no thing, yet that can be everything.
Mm.
Everything and no thing. And that's what the words we've learnt. See how they are dualistic also. Can there be good without bad? Can there be pleasant without pain? Can there be happiness without sadness?
Mm.
Can there be yesterday without today? Where's the centre to them? Any of those words, where's the end to them? Or the beginning of them? Whatever. So the seeming duality continues to appear, ever fresh, ever new, beginningless and endless. But if it wasn't for the somewhat or seeming expander or movement, what would we be? What would we be in? Where would anything be? Or what would anything be in?
Mm.
So the wondrous, amazing, pure intelligence, energy, or godliness, if you like to use that term, that fashions, shapes and forms and appears as everything. And we've got this amazing so-called cosmos, universe, whatever, and all the seeming separate entities, persons that are in it. Like the reflections or images in the mirror, appearing, disappearing.
So would you say that instead of the idea that forms are formless, one could say they are neither?
Yeah.
Mm.
As I say, the image in the mirror, you can't grasp it, you can't say it is real, it can't say it is there.
Mm.
But you can't say it is not
Yeah.
either. So it is and it is not.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, like the thought.
Yeah.
You could see the thought. Of course, it doesn't. You can't touch it. You can't grab it. It doesn't have solidity. But at the same time, it is an object in consciousness because it has the beginning. It has an end. There is an awareness of that thought lasting for a few seconds, or that emotion, or anything. So depending on the context, we use the pointer to bring back the aspect of reality. So in this context, using an idea of form or the object to point out that this object is a changing or is a movement on the stillness, on the background, to bring back the idea of background, that makes sense. But ultimately, it is not an object. Nothing is really solid. Nothing is really changeless. So even if something looks like a form, it is just the appearance. It is how it appears to be. Just like in the dream, it appears the trees that we're climbing, or the mountains, or the cities, they appear solid. But are they? So that's the paradox of pointing. You can criticize it, pick the words. We got some critical voices on YouTube on some of the uses of the words. Obviously, it was more important for someone to be right than to actually see where the pointer is pointing. it always depends on context. And if someone feels in the heart, knows that innate resonance, the real knowing is there, then of course you'd rather see it than deny it, or yeah, it's just a pointer. Now Tanya says, separateness, separate self, I am the body, are just thoughts. So I'm not the body, but it appears awareness in the body. That seeing is coming from a viewpoint where the head supposedly is. This is an illusion, isn't it?
Yes, if we didn't have that pattern to express through, how could it express at all?
And when you think of, I was using that old example of electricity and the globe. Like Bob says, there is so many different sources of light. They're not sources of light, they're expression of light. Electricity going, one electricity field goes, and it expresses through the bulb or globe. And it feels like that the expression is located. It feels like the light is there, just like you may feel that the light of your being is in your heart or in your head. But electricity is not in the globe. It is potentially everywhere. It is channeled to the globe. So the same electricity, the life essence that you are, is channeled through the body, and it expresses as a point, like a location, seeming location, that your speaking comes from here. The voice cord is here, so that is located. That's the only way it can express. Otherwise, it is just a potentiality.
And could the sound in which the word forms in, could it come without the breath?
Yeah, it couldn't.
Movement or something.
And now, Michael, Bob, can you talk to already being awake? We can't wake up anymore or wake up again. There are no other levels of awareness. Any further hints on making this experience rather than a concept? Much love. Can you just go back to, we are already that, we are already awake.
What was it again?
Can you talk to already being awake? We can't wake up anymore or wake up again. There are no other levels of awareness. Any further hints on making this experience rather than a concept?
Yeah. Well, it's all one essence. It's already
being experienced.
And it's got no I can't say it's just a spontaneous thing. You can't say it's got any time. It's not millions of years or any time. Got any, not even any space. It's just a spontaneous throb, pulsation or something like that. Panda, brittle, soma, whatever. Just somewhat of a movement which seemingly appears, as they say, Shakti dances and the world appears.
Yeah, so you have this beautiful question that you usually ask in a situation like Michael's question. Are you unaware? Nope. That's it.
Yeah.
That awareness, that consciousness is already here. Are you unconscious? No. Okay, you're conscious. That's it. But the problem is that we are usually looking for some big bang or light or surge of pleasure, love, unconditional. Yeah, those are experiences. They come and go. But they always come and go on that primary awakeness, wakefulness, the non-unconsciousness. So that being conscious, being here. So this is what matters. This is the basic screen. The experiences, the pleasure, pain, all that comes later, comes and goes like a cloud.
But you are the life. That life what we call life is not there, that animation, that life is that there. Well, have a look out, seemingly out there. All you see is life.
Yeah.
Different patterns, experiences, places, shapes and forms. The tree is life. The leaf is life. The seed is life. The birds, the insects, the microbes. What call life.
But a good point, very good point, and thank you, Michael, for that, is that hint on making this experience rather than concept, because it isn't even possible to not experience it. It is always being experienced, so it doesn't even have to be made to the experience. Like often people say, well, I understand it conceptually, but I don't experience it. And then again, I would ask Bob's question, are you not being right now? Oh, no, I'm being. So you're experiencing it. Thinking that you are only understanding it conceptually but not experiencing is impossible, because to understand something conceptually, you have to be first. And being is that pre-sensory experiencing. So yes, that's a really good aspect, to actually realize that you can't wake up because you're already awake. You can't experience anymore because experiencing is all there is. And now overlay of concepts on it, that look, but this is only intellectual. No, the intellectual is just an overlay on what is already there underneath that intellectual blah, blah, blah. Experiencing is happening all the time. And this experiencing is overlooked because mind can't grasp it. For mind, it needs to vibrate, and it doesn't. So for mind, it has to be pleasure, pain, happiness, like Bob is explaining, the pairs of opposites. Mind is always vibrating between those opposites. And this pure plain experience of being doesn't have the opposite. That non-being can't be experienced. So it's only one, it's only recognition of what's already there, but that can't be grasped by the mind. And at the same time, it can't be denied, because it can't not be. The mind can't exist without that basic screen. And Tanya says, I'm curious about that too. Oh yeah, that we just elaborating on it. Yes, is for granted. Thank you, Bob and Kat. Neither form nor formless are thoughts only. Awareness is us. That's Amarnath. Yep. And Rohan, a form seen from a distance is seen clearly by those nearby. If a mirage were water, why is water not seen by those nearby? The way this world is seen as real by those afar is not seen by those. Oh gosh, again, it's always losing me when I have to expand the text. For whom it is seamless like a mirage, just as a mirage is seemingly water but is not water and does not in fact exist as water. So the aggregates, body, mind and senses are seemingly a self but not a self, and do not exist in fact. Precious garland of Nagarjuna, verses 50-54. Very precious. Thank you. And Tanya, thank you, Bob and Kat. I am, and all is that intelligence energy, one essence. Yeah, including the thought forms floating through. And John David, if you sense your hand, where are you sensing it from? This is a pointer of our space-like awareness with no location. That's great. Yeah, where is the center of the awareness? Where is the awareing happening from? And Julia, the non-dual perspective helped me get through a friend's funeral and the world's current timeline. Many talk about being awake, however, they are still in the dream. You want to comment about being in the dream?
Well, it's a waking dream, yeah.
Yes, being awake in a dream. Right now we are totally in the dream. We're dreaming each other. We're dreaming that conversation happening. That's a dream. We are not doing it. It's a dream happening, and it is recognized as a dream. So we are awake to the dream. We know the dream goes on, and we go along. And there is no we who goes along. It's just life doing it. It's like I can't choose to not do what life is doing because there is no separate me that can choose it. So life always does what it does. It dances its dance, and I'm just a space for it to happen. That's totally in the dream, absolutely in the dream, yeah. All the forms that we see, they look solid.
Yes.
They dream.
Emptiness is form.
Yes. And form is formless and it's neither, like Amarnath was saying before. Amarnath says now, lovely Michael, experiencer, experienced, and experienced are notions. Without this, experience is ever there. Without the notions, experiencing is ever there. David says gratitude. And Sally, I love what you say, Bob. Try getting out of the now. That's beautiful. Yes. Or try to not be. Yes, I love them too. They're beautiful. Great pointers. Tanya responding to John, if you sense your hand, about the sense of location, she says a beautiful point, John David. I'm sensing the hand from awareness. Awareness and hand are not separable, not separate. Amarnath says, Kat, thanks a million, taking us to the substratum. I am presence without any thought or label. Don't knock the mind. Yeah, appreciate the mind. It's a brilliant way of a dance, a dream. Now, a form seen from a distance, that is what Amarnath was commenting on Rohan's quote for Nagarjuna. Thanks, Rohan. Absence seen as presence. Yeah.
Absence.
Seen as a presence, like you think of a water in a mirage. There is no water there, and you see it as it is. Heyman, there is no alternative anyway. Yep. Dream without dreamer. Ever grateful to you. Goes Paul, I am not what goes on, yet I makes it happen. And Owen, in that sense, we wake up in the dream like a lucid dreamer, rather than wake up from the dream. Thanks to you two sailors, by the way. Yes, Owen, that's it. Yes, waking up from the dream would be probably a death of the physical body. One could compare it this way. But waking up to the dream like a lucid dreamer, you know that you're dreaming. But in the lucid dream, there is still a very, very strong sense of the agency. While here is no agency. Like in a lucid dream, I can actually, because I trained myself for lucid dreaming some years back, and I had quite a few of those. They're extremely pleasurable. You can decide to fly, but then there is a still very strong sense of control, much, much stronger than in a normal life. Now this is my dream, and I can do whatever I want. Here there's no I to do anything. Here is just being. But it's a good enough analogy. I like it and I use it too. Nail, is awareness different than objects in awareness? Why do teachers differentiate between awareness and objects and create duality? That's a very, very good question. Why do they do it? They don't, unless they are requested for further explanation. When Bob and I sit home by ourselves, never, ever we differentiate consciousness and object day and night. Nothing. There's no thinking. But sometimes people really need to resonate, and using words and using frequency and using stories, analogies, using mind basically, which is all duality. You can't use the mind. You can't speak the word without diving into duality. Even if you say oneness, 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 and mind will conceive that there is quietness or something opposite to oneness. They do it out of love to actually help.
It's all that happens is just with the one essence is seemingly being divided.
Yes.
As Shakespeare says, nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not putting two ends on the same stick,
Yes. It's just one stick.
just the one stick. Yeah.
But that's a very, very beautiful point and very important, and thank you for bringing it up. We always try to bring it back when we talk about the form and emptiness, seems like two. We always bring it back, there is just one essence, just one vibrating. But it actually is helpful to see the space of being and the objects of cloud passing through. I remember it used to be helpful for me when I was still a seeker. And I remember seeing how it sometimes shifts people out of the mind when they disengage with that passing phenomena. So it really is. I would also add the obvious. Nobody does that. The teachers don't differentiate. It's just the bird singing its song. It's just the talking happens. There is no teacher who is doing the talking. It's just live dancing its dance. Musician is playing his music, and a painter is painting his painting. And non-duality speakers are speaking non-duality. Using language means duality. It's no other way. But yeah, I would say it is another way of love expressing itself, because there are people who actually want to hear it and resonate with the knowing that is beyond the dualistic words. And sometimes they do. And sometimes they don't, and they go somewhere else, and that's perfect. That's how life moves them. The non-dual perspective, D is replying to Julia, do they edit their comments? Do they edit their comments? And Julia says, D, not sure I understand. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand either.
What was it?
About editing comments. I'm not sure.
Everything is.
No. When there is a comment and you edit, change it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure either. That's a question that Dee asked, but we don't know the answer. Richard, does mind begin the moment awareness notices that it is aware? If so, is naivety wise? Want me to read it again? Richard, does mind begin the moment awareness notices that it is aware?
Well, like, what's your next thought going to be? You don't know. But thinking comes up, and you label it. I think.
Yep.
Label it from form a subject as soon as it's labelled. But can the thought I think, can it think? It can't. No, thinking happens, but when we put the label on it, I think, we form the subject, the thinker. And I think the thought, and we make the thought the object then. But there's as Shakespeare said, nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So the thinking, like the experiencing, like the seeing, the hearing, the tasting, touching, smelling, it's all divided into subject, object, thinker, thought, experiencer, seer and seen. But it's just the pure, spontaneous, what we call seeing, hearing, tasting, just the different patterns, shapes and forms, seeming appearances appear, play around and disappear in the vibrating essence.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the idea of beginning of the mind when awareness notice it is that it is. Bob has this really nice, I love the way of using the quote from the Bible. On the beginning was the Word. Without the word beginning, there is no beginning. The mind begins when the thought comes to actually evaluate the beginning. Without that thought, and it calls it mind, and it believes there is such a thing, separate thing called mind. Now this mind has been believed into existence. It doesn't, like, that's also Bob often points, there is nothing called mind. You can't show the mind, it's just a thought. So the thought, when is the beginning of the mind, is mind itself. So it didn't begin at this point. It is a definition that really happens in the moment when it happens, and it disappears the moment when the attention is away of it.
And what's thought?
There is no mind.
What's thought? Thought's just a vibration,
That's right.
a sound.
Mm.
And the vibration makes a sound, which we've put labels on words. We've taken that sound to be such and such, with the capacity of reasoning, seeming what we call reasoning being there.
Mm.
Sound's just a vibration. A vibration is just a movement of energy. Just the same as the manifestation. And the manifestation, it can be broken down to subatomic particles into pure energy.
Yeah.
So just nothing but a somewhat of a movement, if it's spontaneous, it hasn't got any duration.
Mm.
So you can't say it's even a movement. All seeming appearance.
Yeah, and even because I know that Richard knows a lot of science and neuroscience, so even that idea of beginning of the mind when the default mode network is sealed and that hallucination of self in time happens, even that is intermittent. You can't say when it formed, because you sit down and you stop thinking and it's gone. It's an interesting concept that naivety is wise in a way. Yeah, I hear you. It could be this way, that without the narrative, I don't know if you call it naive, but you could, I guess. In that sense, we wake up in the dream. That is Amarnath replying to Owen. Waking up in the dream. Cat came to get some love.
Well,
Yes, so waking up in the dream itself is a dream.
mm.
We are not there in the dream at all. Absolute awareness, no planning. It happens by itself. No doer or doership.
Who's that?
Yeah, that's Amarnath.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Even dreaming, waking up in the dream, not waking up, dreaming, of being unawake. That all is part of the appearance of the manifested world. Come here, darling. Oh, he needs his pillow. He sleeps on Bob's lap all day long, but he needs a pillow. Heyman, that's why Buddha said empty fullness or full emptiness, which implies the inseparability of what is. Yeah?
Hmm?
Did you want me to read it again?
What was it?
That is why Buddha said empty fullness or full emptiness, which implies inseparability
Yeah.
of what is. Yeah.
It is inseparable.
Amarnath.
It's not even one, so
Yeah.
how can we think it apart?
True cut is beyond no mind state to say Nisargadatta no mind state too, says Nisargadatta Maharaj. No mind can happen in sleep, anesthesia, alcohol. That is not self-awareness. Thanks for making truth naked. And Rohan, another two beautiful verses from the precious garland. Sight, sounds, and so forth were said by the subduer, not to be true and not to be false. If form one possession, its opposite arises. Both do not exist in fact. Thus, ultimately, the world is beyond truth and falsity. Therefore, the subduer does not assert that it really exists or does not. Beautiful.
Can't say it is, you can't say it isn't.
That's right, yeah. Otul, there is no tree inside the tree. He's quoting Mujib. And Julia, can you speak on triggers? All conditioning still comes up. Would you like to speak on triggers?
Trigger?
Yeah, trigger. Like, you know, for example, little sister or whatever, or the food allergy. Something that triggers the body. You know, you have allergy to peanuts and you cough, or you have allergy to a neighbor and you.
All I can say about that is don't pull the trigger.
Yeah, if you look at the animals, absolutely. If there is a traumatized animal which is responding, or even when you think trained bulls responding to a red blanket. That's the conditioning. That's the part of the makeup of the body-mind. The body-mind is made up to actually respond to certain sounds with pleasure and to others with displeasure. Those triggers, they probably will be there. I mean, who cares? Who wants them to go? If you see that there is a trigger and you see the body responding to a trigger, but you are the consciousness in which you are admiring how this body is behaving, like you don't know what's the body gonna think or say or do next moment, and you just you're completely open and curious to see what that body is gonna. It's not yours, it's not you responding or you being triggered or you having your button pushed. It's the machinery, and you are the consciousness in which that is witnessed. And as that witnessing consciousness already has a lot of attention released from that identification with form, that triggers weaken over time. That is how it appears to be, because they don't get full blast of that attention, which is the life essence. There is no belief in it. The trigger still happens. Let's say the body still responds to the peanut or to the neighbor or to the little sister or whatever. That's just examples. None of that is our case in this, but yeah, so what? It's not me, it's the body. Amarnath, trigger is non-investigation or belief attention without awareness. John David is laughing from your comment. Don't pull the trigger. Another classic pointer from our beloved Siler. Now Amarnath replying to John David. All seekers have different backgrounds and are, he says, beautiful John, otherness is itself a notion. How can it be when there is no me? And Julia says, commenting on your comment on John David's comment, that John David love him. Yes, love Siler Bob having a classic comment on don't pull the trigger. And I wonder if I've seen that comment here. All seekers have different backgrounds and are at different levels of maturity. Not everyone who hears the truth gets it right away. Oftentimes the differentiation of awareness and objects is given to help free the listener from suffering. This is how it came about for me. Seeing I wasn't the body and mind was very freeing. After some time, I came to understand I am all things. As Nisargadatta says, love says I am everything. Wisdom says I am nothing. Between the two, my life flows. Oh, gorgeous, beautiful. And thank you, Amarnath, for commenting that, because my phone just selected it out. I didn't see that. And I wonder how many other comments I don't see, and I apologize if that is the case. I'll see if I can actually set up the commenting differently. No, can't do anything. I'll have a look on the phone if I miss out more of the beautiful comments. Gosh, there's plenty of comments that I'm not seeing, actually. There's plenty of comments that I'm not seeing. I can't tell why. Can't see. Can't do anything about it. Okay, I'm just gonna grab the speaker and read from here, because there is plenty of comments. Heyman says there is no self in self. And John David, I love our family. I hope someday we can all be together and enjoy nice get-together. That would be wonderful, Julia says. And self to have fun game, cosmic joke. That's Amarnath. Pull the trigger and shoot the peanut, says Heyman. And life is unfolding spontaneously in this now moment only, says O'Toole. And Julia is asking O'Toole who is there to give attention or not to give it. Attention is the food for mind. Don't give attention to the mind and mind disappear, says Julia. And O'Toole says, yes, that's the thing. Thinking happening without thinker or thoughts can happen involuntarily too, like digestion, respiration, or heart beating. That's Amarnath replying to O'Toole, saying that thinking and thinker are both the same. And there is no thought inside a thought, says Heyman. Okay, you want to comment on any of that, Bob? I'm really sorry, I don't really get those comments, and I have no way to change the settings as a viewer.
Oh, I've got... It's just as it is. I'm not...
Just as it is.
Just got to conjure up a thought if I want to. It's not happening, so.
Best joke is trigger. Best joke of trigger is in solitude, when we are talking to ourselves. Noise in the head. No me, no others. Just building without base. This is Amarnath.
Yeah, that's very true. That's what's happening here at the moment. There's no thought. No. That's true.
And John is asking if there is any news I would like to share. Can you give me a hint what the news? Because I don't know. Maybe there is, but I don't know. I was thinking that Bob's birthday we're going to celebrate next Sunday, but it's quite likely that we won't. I mean, there's still a possibility. Lockdown is about to... It was announced to end by Wednesday, which is Bob's actual birthday. But next Sunday we were supposed to, if there is a group, go to Sofia and have a cake and invite everyone who can come to join us and have a little bit of a cake and a singing. But we don't know if that's going to happen. Last year we had a Bob's birthday, just the two of us, and it was wonderful. I made the biggest cake and quite yummy too. And we'll see what happens. I don't know if you're saying about the book. Well, I don't know when it is gonna happen. I finished writing the book that John kindly motivated me many times to keep writing, and the book is about Sailor Bob's pointers. It's really, literally a box full of pointers on every letter of Bob's name. And it has been finished, it has been edited, but I'll probably have to get the someone who's got the background, the education. I had two really, really lucid, wise people, both Americans. John's one of them. I hope you forgive me for saying it. To actually view all the little glitches and articles missing here and there. But yeah, I might ask someone professional to just proofread it, and then I'll just put it out on Amazon and have it seen. Thank you, John. I mean, it wouldn't have happened without you. And happy birthday to the unborn, says Otul. And Amarnath, best part of joke in Trigger is forgetting the substratum division of subject-object. Yes. Best joke of Trigger is a solitude when we are talking to ourselves, noise in the head, no me, no others. Just a building without base. I know I've read it before, but I kind of hope I could get your comment on it. All the voices in the head, all the narrative.
There's no voices in the head going on.
Yeah. But you remember there were some voices sometime.
Yeah. But why?
Yeah, well, just to be helpful for others, because they may still experience this type of mental disturbance.
Well, most of the comments that's going on there should, if they listen to them and see what's being said, it would take them out of the commentary. It's all pretty good stuff.
It's beautiful. It is. And thank you, everyone, for commenting and sharing the pearls of wisdom. With the noises and the voices, recognition is the key.
Yeah.
Because just like I think it was John saying that when you are aware of your arm, you follow up where is the awareness coming from. Recognition is also coming from beyond the object being recognized. Whether it is a conceptual object, which is a noise, or the thought, it still could be called an object, even though it neither exists nor it doesn't. But in the context, it is something that can be recognized.
Go on.
For whom is the trigger? And Julia answering to Otul, exactly. I saw that as I replied to you. The mind is a trickster. Great point. Yes, they are a trigger. Is there a trigger at all? Amarnath says with a lot of laughter. Is there a trigger? Yeah, that's a trick. Yeah, it is when you call it so. When you label something a trigger, it straight away is believed into being as a trigger. But if you don't, what is it? It's just like reaction, response, whatever. It's just this.
The pesto reacted
Pesto
when you said to...
yeah, to my expression.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that they are all brilliant aspects. Thank you for bringing them all up. Yeah, there is no trigger if you don't label it. There is no one who is triggered. And the mind is a trickster. Absolutely. Recognizing is a key. Recognition is the... this is Rohan replying to Tanya. Who asks this question apart from a thought? Haha. Yeah, great. You want to say something about the questioner being a question? That's a really good point.
No.
Oh, come on.
Why should I disturb what's going on there? Just leave it as it is. You can do it.
Tanya says, so true. Thought is appearing as asking a question. Trigger and triggered are both thoughts, O'Toole says. Beautiful. Even the triggering is a movement that is being labeled. It's a functioning that is being labeled. Yeah, who asked the question apart from a thought?
This is the best morning I've had. You've triggered me into silence.
Oh. Yeah, that's beautiful. There is nothing more beautiful than seeing someone coming home. That is what Bob told me about, nearly 6 years ago now, when I was dropping into tears of joy. Nothing more happy. And now he's got all this beautiful expression mirrored back to him, the understanding. There's nothing more joyous and happy in this morning, and seeing so many coming home, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's compounding it here, making...
It is, yes. Yes, it's almost like, life is fulfilling itself. The 45 years of your pointing, relentless, always being here. And again, Bob is always available for anyone who wants to speak with him one-on-one over the phone or Skype, or he doesn't charge for it. Now, so Tanya, so true. Thought is appearing, us asking a question. Amarnath's question is like teasing ourselves. Phantom awakening. And John David Katz's book is going to be a beautiful gift for all. I am grateful to be asked to help in a small way to deliver the good news. Thank you, Kat, for trusting me with your words and giving me the opportunity to hear the pointers fresh and new. I-O-U, as Bob is spelling out. A-O-U? Yes, I-O-U. Yeah, definitely for life. This is not a small job you've done. It's a big job. And Sally is asking, has pesto got your tongue, Bob?
Exactly, Sally.
Yes, he has. And Julia, my best morning too. The story keeps pulling me in. I can't think of a better time to awaken. I'm so happy. Wonderful. And
It's catching.
another Julia. What a beautiful response to triggering. Amarnath. Thanks a million, Kat, for sharing your personal experience. It gives a lot of hopes to us. Love you. Love you too. There's no need for hope. You're already that. And Rohan, recognizing is a key. And this is replying to Tanya, and I'll just check if I actually seen that comment. It might have alluded again. Recognition is a key. Recognizing that the thoughts aren't true. Is any thought true? Beautiful question, is it? Of course, is it? How the thought can be true? True is that which never changes, and thought is constantly flowing. And Rohan answered to that. Who asked this question apart from a thought? Beautiful. And again, I would have missed that comment, and I'm so sorry. So true. Thought is appearing as asking a question. And Rohan replying to that. When Bob said, triggered into silence, it reminded me of The Sound of Silence by the Simon and Garfunkel. This is a modern take on the old classic by the band Disturbed. And we will have a look at this because I don't think it will play very well if I just get it now. No, it doesn't. I have to copy and paste. So we'll have to look at it after the meeting.
What's that?
Rohan sent us a link to a song. But see, I can't actually open it. Maybe I can open it here. No, I can't. Yep, we'll copy and paste to the browser. John David Sidaram Meshwar said that the joy of seeing someone come home is what keeps the message alive. Yeah, it sounds true, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a reward. Otherwise, who knows if the message would speak itself through that or the other speaker. Atul, there is only love which encompasses everything and everyone unconditionally. Yeah, it shows up in different disguises, that love. It shows up as different shapes and forms and patterns, but it's always love for being. And here we are. And if anyone see the comment or are with us and I didn't actually answer to it, just comment on it so I'll find it, because for some reason I just can't see all of it. So if there is something I've skipped, just make a comment on the comment and I'll trace it back.
Song. Who was mentioned? Amaranth, but The Sound of Silence.
That was Rohan, yes.
Rohan. Well, that's what's happening. It's resonating.
And you like that song too, don't you?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful melody, and it's heartwarming.
Hello, silence, my old friend. I've come to visit you again.
There you go. On the deepest level, you are that silence.
Yes. As Nisargadatta puts it, my silence sings. My emptiness is full. So if there's a fullness of emptiness, what can be added to it? What can be taken away from it? What more words are needed?
Mm. What all is needed for this moment is always available in this moment only. That's O'Toole. O'Toole says, what all is needed for this moment is always available in this moment only. Yeah. Yeah, if you think you need something and you don't have it, it's quite obvious you don't need it, because you don't have it and you're still here. Beautiful. Hi, Bob and Kat. Love you both. Hugs from Ben. Thank you, Ben. And Amarnath. Beautiful self working out on itself without the doer or doership. What a misnomer. And Derek, it's enjoyable to experience moment of silence with you this morning, Bob. And Amarnath replying to Tanya on recognition is a key. Unthought awareness is best meditation. That's a quote from Nisargadatta. And Tanya, thank you for the reminder that what is true is that which never changes. Noticing this, and peace is noticed, flowing, and silence is here. Interesting how peace and stillness is noticed when there is no thought. Even the thought is a good excuse to notice the silence, because if not for the silence, there couldn't be a thought, there couldn't be a sound. It's just that we habitually, the attention is attracted to the thought, because thought is juicy, it's colorful, it's pictures, it's exciting, it's charged, it has emotional response, while silence is kind of blunt. For the mind, it is nothing, it is boring. But finding a way to actually put your heart into silence, fall in love with silence, may somehow make that silence attractive enough so that the attention will flow following the heart, not the need of the mind to constantly be entertained and distracted, but the heart, the beautiful peace that passeth all understanding, the brilliance of that loving to be, the aliveness. And Amarnath, being a king or queen, working out for begging for poverty. Maybe you want to say that little story about the guy who came and sat on the king's throne. The beggar going through the kingdom.
You can say it.
Aww. Okay, so there was a story about the poor guy, don't know how poor he was, but the guy just roaming around, passing through the kingdom where there was a preparation for the big celebration. And the big throne was put in the central point of the town and surrounded by flowers and all the luxuries. And the guy just climbed up to the top, sat on the throne. All the ministers and all the servants got absolutely shocked, approached him and asked, "What are you doing here? Who are you? How dare you? Are you a king of another country?" He says, "Nope, I'm more than that. "Oh, who are you then?" Oh, I kind of skip few passages. They ask him first whether he was a dignitary or minister or general, and then eventually they came up. He always answered, "I'm more than that." "Are you a king on of another country?" "No, I'm more than that." "Why? How could you be more than that?" Ironically, they ask, "Are you God?" He says, "Nope, I'm more than that." Then they started laughing. "Nothing is more than God." And he said, "Yep, I am that nothing." The joy of being nothing, being in love with the silence, and being nothing. For the mind, it is really enough if you say, "I don't know what I am." Because when you say, "I am nothing," mind straight away will make a thing out of the nothing. "Oh, that's the thing that I am." No, it's not a thing. It's a no thing. So John David says, Kat recently posted on Facebook a transcription she took of Bob's comments on realizing. It is absolutely beautiful. I encourage all to have a look.
What was that?
Yes, that was when I was writing that book. I had came to the point of realization, the chapter on R, and recognition. I might have done similar thing. Just got inspired instead of elaborating on all those, which is kind of obvious, doesn't need elaboration. I randomly picked out from all the transcripts and subtitling that I've done before for Bob's talks, and just cut it and pasted words, the sentences which you organically used word realize, make real, or see that it is real, realize. And it made a really poetic way of a chapter of its own, even though it doesn't have much of the editing or structure to it. See if I can access it quickly and read a couple of passages. I buried under 100 other posts. Oh no, there it is. So, this is one. I came to realize I was being lived. How important to actually see that you are being lived. I came to realize that my seeming journey was how it all panned out. The whole path, where the life is taking you, that's how it happened. The realization was that there is no center. If I am that space, like awareness, I realize that there is no me. There is nothing there at all. I realized that everything I had believed in, I was not, and everything just dropped away. Realize there is only now. You can realize just how much takes place without the use of the mind. Every of those sentences you could actually sit and ponder upon, because they really open up when you do. Realize that the functioning is happening effortlessly, without any me involved. How obvious. Realize that before anything can be wrong, there has to be a thought. There is no relationship between apparent seeking and the realization or liberation. That is important. It's not that if you're seeking 20 years, then you're ahead of someone who is seeking for 2 years. Absolutely no relationship in there. In the dream of that, you realize that any direction you go in will always be in the mind. That is so important. Any looking out there or in there, any kind of movement is away from that silent stillness. What way out of the mind is there? Full stop. Realize that all that is happening is conceptualization. Realize that there is no personal doer of it. Realize there is no one to do it and nothing to do, and it will settle down of its own accord. Realize that which is ceaselessly and spontaneously arising prior to any thought. You are beyond the mind. Realize that. You must realize that you are being lived. You might not realize that even when the thoughts are going on, the silence is still there. You have realized that you don't have to get to the silence. There is more silence in this room than there is a sound. You realize that there is not a thing you can say about it, but you can't deny a fact, the fact that it still is as it is. Realize you can't negate your being. You can't say, I am not. Realize that prior to the mind, there is always that pure intelligence or knowingness. Just come back to the sense of presence that you are and realize that that is birthless, deathless, timeless, spaceless, bodiless, and mindless. We are not realizing that we were whole from the start, that we never have been separate. When you realize that you never find an answer to it in the mind, what happens? But realize that thought has come up spontaneously, effortlessly, and intuitively on that what you are. You realize also that you can't cut space, you can't grasp space, you can't steer it up, you can't do anything with it. The same applies to this awareness. See that and realize that you are the emptiness itself, the no-thingness. But realize that you were seeing before the thought I see came up. I think I'll stop here because it is actually nice to read it very, very slowly. So you can continue on that. It's just a few more pointers in our sharing and pointers group. I also posted on Bob's Facebook. And thank you, John, for inspiring me to do that. And see where we are with the comments. And no direction in the sky awareness, Amarnath says. And beautiful book, love it, he says also. See with real eyes, says Michael. And silence is eternal speech. Thanks a million. Kat really opened up to the floodgates of awareness. Thank you.
Good. We had enough?
I think we are about the time to wrap up and say goodbye to everyone. I just see if there is anything else on the phone that doesn't appear here. And yes, we got thank you messages coming up. Tanya is saying thank you and sending love to all, and thank you everyone. Thank you for making him so happy and having such a good morning of seeing that reflection of understanding and clarity being just.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a beautiful Saturday night, Sunday morning, or wherever you are in the world. A beautiful night.
Love you.
Love you all.